Alright, what's up? I'm back again. It's like part 8 of the video response I'm doing to the Idol Smashers videos. I'm gonna continue where I left off in the last part. Like I said, the Idol Smasher, you made a claim that you said try to say Christ is pretty much the devil because he referred to himself as the morning star or Lucifer. But I already told you that Lucifer means one of light. Okay, that's not a bad word. To be called Lucifer, the morning star, that's a good word. That means you're enlightened. It means that you have it means that you have knowledge. It means you have rulership and power. That's what it means. It's a metaphor for enlightenment, and it's a metaphor for rulership, power, and greatness. Okay. But anyway, I'm gonna read that scripture I read earlier in Revelation real quick. I'm gonna go through it real quick again so we get a full understanding, just in case anyone's just tuning in on this video. Revelation 2:26. He that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him I will give power over the nations. Keeping the word's Lord work is going out and teaching his word, waking up your brothers, telling people the truth that Yahushua is the Son of God. That's keeping the works. Keeping the laws of the Old Testament. That's keeping the work. Not just the Noahide laws, all the laws. Okay, that's part of keeping the work. Okay, he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter, they shall be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father, and I will give him the morning star. So the Israelites are going to get the morning star, which means we're going to be illuminated. We're going to receive rulership and power. And it just told you that we was going to rule over all nations. And like I said before, Idol Smasher, this scripture I'm reading in the New Testament says exactly the same thing as the Old Testament, okay? Because like I said, the New Testament and the Old Testament go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? It fits like a glove, okay? But anyway, I'm going to show you where this is written in the Old Testament. It's just repeating the same thing as written in the Old Testament, okay? So if you say you don't like the New Testament, that means you don't like the Old Testament. You don't like the Lord. So let's go to Psalms 2 and 1. I'm going to read again from the top. Why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast their cords away from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. So all these heathen nations, the Lord's going to have them in derision. And when he's destroying you, he's going to laugh at you. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sword. Excuse me, let me read that again. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. So that's a scripture for all these fake, effeminate acting Christians out there. All these fake Christians in the world, they try to say the Lord is all love and he only says nice things to people, and the Lord would never curse at someone, or the Lord would never say anything bad. Well, that's a lie. This says, then shall he speak to them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. Dumb Christians. Yet I have set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Now, who's the only begotten Son of the Most High? That's the one you call Christ. That's Yahushua. This is a prophecy talking about the Son of God in the Old Testament. He's the only begotten Son. Okay, that's Yahushua. That's the Son of God. That's the Messiah. Okay, that's the guy they crucified on the cross, and then he rose from the dead. But Idol Smasher, you don't believe that. You don't even believe the words of the Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? You deny Scripture. Anyway, this is the point I wanted to make, because this scripture I'm about to read is the same thing that's written in the book of Revelation, the 2nd chapter. Let's read it. Psalms 2 and 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the utmost parts of the earth for thy possession. For thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. See, he called us kings. Why are we called kings? Because we're the Israelites, we're the sons of God. And that's why Christ is called the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, because we're all kings, and he's a king over us. So he's a King of Kings. So be wise now, therefore, O you kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. So let me read this again. But it said that we were going to get the heathen were going to be our inheritance. And it also said that we was going to break them into pieces with a rod of iron. Now this says exactly the same thing as the book of Revelation. Right here, Revelation 2 and 27. It says, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. Talking about the heathens. Because we just read that the heathen was going to be our inheritance, and we was going to hit them with a rod of iron. This says, he shall rule them with the rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter, they shall be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So this is talking about the same thing as the book of Psalms. So the Old Testament and the New Testament is exactly the same thing. Okay, but let me keep going. And this is Revelation. I'm back in Revelation now. Revelation 2:28. And I will give him the morning star. So, idol smasher, are all the Israelites and all the followers of Yahushua, we are the devils because we're going to be given the morning star? Are we devils because we receive enlightenment, because we're the children of light? Because that's what the morning star means. It means that you're illuminated. Pretty much that's what it means. I'm going to get another point too. I'm going to bring out the scripture where Christ himself calls himself the morning star. Let's get that. Revelation 22:16. Now, this is a good point right here. You're going to like this, idol smasher. This is for you. I, Jesus, and we all know his true ancient Hebrew name is Yahushua. Well, you should know it. You better know it. I, Yahushua, have sent mine angel to testify I, Yahushua, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning stars. So the one you call Christ said he's the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and the morning star. So he's the same thing that David was. David was the morning star too, because David was illuminated. Because that's what the morning star means. It means you're illuminated. It means you have rulership and power. That's what it means. And he said he's the root and offspring of David. He said he's from the house of David. So, idol smasher, you trying to say that David is the devil too? Because the scriptures just said that David, he was the morning star, and he was illuminated. You know what I'm saying? Yahushua descends from David, so you trying to say David was the devil? You trying to say King David was the devil? The scriptures say that David was a man after the Most High's own heart. Okay, that's in the book of Acts. All through the New Testament, it tells you about how great a man David was. And it says it right here. It said, I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David. And you can read in the book of Isaiah, it said that there was going to be a root out of Jesse. It prophesied to Christ that the Messiah was going to come from the root of Jesse. Now, who's Jesse? Jesse is the father of David. So the prophecies in the Old Testament told you that the Messiah was going to come out of the house of David. And not only that, he even told you that he was going to be born in Bethlehem. Where was Christ born? Bethlehem. Who does he descend from? He descends from Jesse. He descends from David. Okay, he is the root and the offspring of David. He is the bright and the morning star. Okay, he is the Son of God. He is the Messiah. He is the only begotten Son. Okay, that's the facts. If you deny that, I'm going to get one scripture to end this video, man. I'm going to give you a real important scripture. Because if you don't believe that Christ is the Son of God, man, you're lost. You lose. Everything you've done is in vain, man. You're just going to be destroyed. I mean, it's prophesied all through the Old Testament, but you want to deny it. Let's get Mark 16 and something. Mark 16:16. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned.